Hey everybody, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2, and welcome to Aberdeen. That's up there in Scotland. Yeah, last episode we were where? We were in Birmingham, I think. Cambridge? Oh, I drove to Newcastle and recorded that, but it was terrible, so I deleted it, and then I drove from Newcastle to Edinburgh. That was terrible, deleted that one, and then I came up here to Aberdeen. So today, I'm feeling good about it. I am. Maybe. We're going to head back to Edinburgh. We haven't been there yet in-game, like in a video. So we're going to head to Edinburgh. We'll pick up first, and we'll head to Edinburgh. And then we will, from there, off camera, I may head west and get us to Glasgow, just to tick that one off the list. And then we will probably make our way back to the continent, I think. Undecided. But you know what? That's the great thing about this game. There's no real anything. You just kind of do whatever you want. It's a very cool sim, very cool game in that way. Very sandbox, very open-ended. So we'll get that centered. How's everybody doing? It is Tuesday for me. It's Tuesday for you. I cannot seem to break this habit. I am recording and posting on the same day. I didn't used to do that. But I think because this tower renders videos like significantly faster than my old Wii laptop, I am taking advantage of it. Not necessarily in a good way. All right, so we're going to pull in here. Don't clip the curb. We don't clip the curb. I feel like these older parts of the map, older parts of the game, really don't do well with the traffic being set a little higher. We're on 1.7. I say that all the time. We're on 1.7, and that's our spawn rate for traffic. When I say 1.7, I'm talking about the spawn rate. So it spawns a little bit more than it does in base game. And I feel like these early parts of the map really are, I guess they're a little bit more cartoony. I came across a game that, stop right there, that has, I don't know, we'll talk about it as we get rolling. So we'll set the brake there, and then we're going to take a look at our jobs. We're hauling, what is it? We're hauling potted flowers to Edinburgh. And then, like I said, we'll head west to Glasgow. I'll head west to Glasgow off camera, and then we'll get some of these other cities on the way out. Or on the way down to, is it Newcastle, Grimsby? Hull is in here somewhere. No, Hull is in Pro Mods. All right, brake is off. We'll go third person, getting a good gear here and get this thing flipped around and loaded up. It's not too far to Edinburgh, but the roads are pretty twisty, which, again, sort of ties in with, I guess, what I was thinking about. So, you know what? Let's get loaded up and get on the road, because I have to concentrate to get out of these cities, particularly old cities. And that'll all be the topic today. So, yep, it's Tuesday. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. It's, I don't know. Things seemed like they were getting better, and now maybe they're not getting better. So I feel like we're all on that struggle bus. So I hope you're doing all right, and I hope things are going to be okay for you in your world, both in the near term, the immediate stuff like your health, and then long term, your money and your stability and all that other stuff. I try to avoid real talk on the channel. Just keep it to gaming. But we're all, you know what I mean? We're all going through the same stuff. All right, let's straighten that out. OCD is not liking that. Yeah, everybody's all over the world. Everybody's the same. Everybody just wants the same stuff. They want their family to be okay. They want to take a vacation now and then. Feel safe in their home. Just the regular stuff. Everybody's the same. Concentrating. So if there's anything good that has come out of this situation globally right now, it is that it's the same for all of us. We're all sort of equal. and that doesn't happen too often. Right, lift axle is up. Hop back in here. Brake is off. Let's go. All right, here we go. So yeah, the early parts of this game, and I've talked about this before, the early parts of this game, I feel like the developers were they were making a game world. And I don't know why they were doing that. And when I say that, I'm not being an ass. Like, I'm genuinely curious whether they were, I mean, I don't know what level of realism they were looking for when they first started working on this. I don't know what level of realism they were capable of. I don't know. I just don't know. But there are a lot of parts of the game that are sort of like a video game rather than like real life. And the older cities, and when I say older, I mean like the earliest cities on the map, the earliest cities in the game, are really kind of they're stylized is the best way to say it. They look like a video game world rather than looking like real life. And I think that's why our traffic spawn rate goes a little haywire in these towns, is because the distances are disproportionately short. There's just not enough room. The blocks are too short. The ramps are too short. It's not bad. And I know they're fixing some of these areas, but I think some of these, honestly, to fix them, they would need to rebuild them. They would need to rebuild them entirely. And when you think about how long it takes for a DLC to be built and tested, it would take a similar amount of time for an area to be built. Essentially, what they would be doing is creating a DLC that everybody would get for free because it's part of base game. So, like, UK is part of base game. If they were to redo all of the UK, here we go. If they were to redo all of the UK, it would take the same amount of work as it takes to build a DLC, but they wouldn't be able to charge for it. So that money would be, I'm reluctant to say like thrown away. See, that is problematic because as far as I know, in a traffic circle, if you're in the outer lane, you are exiting. You can't, the inner lanes are to go all the way around, or if it's all 4 lanes like this one, then the inner lanes can exit as long as they stay to the correct side when they exit. So I think that needs to be adjusted a little bit, because I don't think in real life the outer lane of a traffic circle can go anywhere but the next exit that it comes to, the next spoke of the wheel. It's got to exit. So I'm just going with it. That was not our fault. I don't think that was our fault, because the only way we could have avoided that is if we were in the outer lane. But for us to be in the outer lane, then we would have had to skip the previous exit, which would have messed with the cars that are trying to enter. You know how traffic circles work. I'm from America, and even I know how traffic circles work. So anyway, enough about that. What was I upset about? What was I complaining about? The old parts of the map. No, I'm not complaining about them, and they're not bad. I think they're just they were using kind of a different methodology. They certainly look different than the newer parts of the map, as far as the level of detail and just the feel of them. So we'll see how it all works out. Now, I have really been looking for a new sim. I'm always looking for new sims for the channel, because I know that's what you good people want. I almost called you vultures, right? But that's the rest of YouTube. That's not you. You're a great audience. But YouTube in general, what people want is new stuff. They insist on new stuff constantly. And I like new stuff as well, so it really, it dovetails. It fits together perfectly. I love new sims. I love new games. The problem is sim gaming it's a niche, there is not a ton of releases, a ton of titles for these sims that we love so much. It's a niche. And then I guess within simulation, racing is going to be a bigger part of sim gaming than something like truck sim or trains or buses or trams. So now we're talking about like a niche within a niche. and that gets really thin. So I'm always looking for new games, and I've been playing with all these transport sims lately, and a lot of them, I have to say, I talked about this in a farm video yesterday, but I'll talk about it in a little bit more detail today. These transport sims they're really, I don't know. I feel like there is a very specific regional audience, and that is in like Germany and Switzerland and Austria, Poland a little bit. I feel like that, for some reason, that part of the world, that sort of culture, really likes these types of sims and games. And that's a good thing. That's very cool. And I like stuff like that, not the games. I like that, like I was saying earlier, everybody's the same. We all just want the same stuff. Yeah, that's like underneath it all. That's at the core of what people are, human beings. Underneath all the cultural and social and economic differences, we're the same, and we all just want the same stuff. But on the surface, the cultural and economic and social stuff is very different, and I find that fascinating. So it's amazing to me, farm sim as an example, it's amazing to me that UK sim farmers and German sim farmers play the same sim in completely different ways. And I do believe that it's cultural. I think it has to be. It's just like how the differences between those two societies, cultures, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The differences between those two, the way that they're expressed in video game preferences. That's great, man. That's the stuff that like anthropologists and sociologists are into. I love it. But there does seem to be a specific type of transport sim gamer, typically I would say German, or from that area, that part of the world. And they're all about the detail of the game, but not necessarily the look of it and not necessarily the immersion of it. So, okay, that's cool. And I noticed the similarity in look and also sort of playability between Lotus, which is early access, OMSI 2, which has been out for quite a while, and Zusi, which is really, having tried to play it for a few hours and then sort of finally giving up on it, I've concluded that Zusi is a professional training tool for like people that work in that real industry. People that drive real trains for a living use this to practice and train, and they use it as a simulation for dealing with emergencies. And I feel like when Aerosoft decided to make it a consumer product, they didn't really make the interface and the tutorials and that sort of thing. They really didn't make it kind of user friendly enough from my perspective. They didn't make it user friendly enough to really make it a consumer product. It's still a professional product, and the way it needs to be used, I would say, is that you go to you go out on the edge of town to some warehouse or some train barn, and their office is inside, and you check in, they call you when they're ready, and you get into a mock-up of a train, and then a technician in another room starts the simulation for you, and you go through it. But that technician has had the training from the developer, not from Aerosoft. Aerosoft is not the developer of the sim itself. I think the sim is designed by like a professional train industry group, and Aerosoft just built the Steam port or the consumer port. But whoever's giving you that, whoever's putting you in that sim, if you're a professional train operator, is they've been trained on how to operate the thing, and there's no middle ground between that professional training and then the Steam port. So I never did figure out how to use it. Plus, I don't speak German. I can sort of cob my way through it. But if I need to have Google Translate open permanently to be able to play a video game, maybe that video game is not for me. And this one is, But all three of them have that very, very technical, very detailed, it's an engineering field. And Germans, of course, are known for being very much into engineering and the details, the minutia, the absolute like finite measurements. So that's cool. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a playable sim, like the sim that we're in right now. And we've talked about this before. This sim is not really a sim. This is a video game. It's called European Truck Simulator. It's not a sim at all. And the proof of that is that you can put a 12-year-old kid in this sim, right? And 20 minutes later, they're driving a heavy truck on a highway. And that wouldn't happen in real life. Therefore, it is not a simulator. Having said that, I don't believe that simulated games, right, video games, I don't believe that they need to be so realistic that they are impossible. Zeusy, as an example, extremely realistic, not a lot of fun. I think there's a middle ground, right? There's a split. For me, mostly I just want it to be a positive and enjoyable experience. I do like, in something like Train Sim World, I do like cranking up the safety systems and really trying to stick to a route and really making the game as challenging and as realistic as possible, knowing as I'm doing that it's not super realistic. It's kind of realistic, but not super realistic. So looking for that balance, right? Looking for that, I don't know, tipping point, cutoff, whatever you want to call it. So I found a sim called Trains with a Z, and I think that could be a winner. Now, unfortunately, it's got about 100 pieces of DLC, and I'm concerned that if I get it, I'm going to go down that road. But what really strikes me about Trains is it has the same not really a sim feel to it as this sim that we're in right now. It's just a fun game. It calls itself a sim, but it's just a fun game. And that's sort of what I'm looking for. I do like Train Sim World. I'm very, very conflicted. Very much on the fence about getting Train Sim World 2. I've said several times I'm not going to get it. I think I might get it. And I really don't know where I'm at with that. Mostly the reasons that I'm opposed to it are I don't want to reward bad behavior, and I think Dovetail is really not handling themselves well as a developer and publisher. And the other thing is I'm thinking it's just far too similar to Train Sim World 2020. So I really don't want to buy it, but I think I might. And when I look at something like Trains, I think, well, I mean, it's big, and it's going to be another, with DLC, it's going to be another 75 to 200 gig on my hard drives. And I just don't know if I want another sim. Now, I've uninstalled a lot of games and sims lately. Carefully through here. I uninstalled Assetto Corsa, and I had put a lot of time and effort into getting Assetto Corsa working with Content Manager and Sol and the new shaders pack and custom sound and custom lighting and position lights, Luma rank system. I got a lot of mods up and running in Assetto Corsa, but I realized that I'm just not, between the F1 franchise, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and what's the other one? There's another one. Dirt 4, Dirt Rally. Is there another one? I want to say there's another race sim. But regardless, I have enough other race sims going that I don't need all of those. I'm about to uninstall Project Cars 2. The problem that I have with that is Project Cars 2 is the collection of cars is amazing, and I may not drive them very often, but I love driving them when I drive them. So there's that. But bottom line is we might get Trains and we might uninstall TSW 2020. And I don't know. I mean, these are investments in a way. You know, when you're going to put, well, it's about $100 between base game with a couple DLC and then that other pack of the other 13 DLC. It'd be a little over $100. It'd be about $110. That's kind of a chunk to spend on a video game. It is. And then also the space that it's going to take up on the hard drive. It's a bit of a commitment. And I want to, I feel like a game like that, you can't really get a feel for it in 2 hours. So as far as being able to refund it, I don't know. It's got mixed reviews. I don't know. I'm starting to get a little cautious about Steam reviews in the same way that I'm cautious about Yelp. It's you wonder. You really wonder sometimes, like, where these reviews are coming from and how accurate they are, how legit they are. Paid posters, AstroTurf, all that stuff. Review bombing. So I don't know. I feel like the farm sim crowd has really been down on cattle and crops because they're not looking for any competition. I think Giants would be happy if that project went away. And I assume that TSW 2020 and Dovetail would be happy if Trains went away. Because that is probably their closest competition in terms of like the look and feel and what it is that you're actually doing. They're different. Well, the main difference for me when I look at them is that Trains has kind of rather than moving in a real world, it does seem like you're moving in sort of almost like a model railroad world. Not a bad thing, but it's a little bit more stylized. And it does remind me of ETS in that way. All right. So now where are we going? We're going here, back into Edinburgh. Okay. And I don't have a light. I don't have an indicator, so I am going to have to go third person to see if our lift axle is up or down. So let's get through here, and then we'll very quickly. Lift axle is up. All right. Well, it wasn't much of a trip. I forgot to put it down, is why it's still up. But it wasn't a super long trip. All right. So we got speed drop right there. Yeah. See how tight and twisty it is in here. It just seems like they had a different sort of methodology, different design, something, when they were building these older parts of the map. All right, so once again, oh dear. Once again, I'm going to use correct traffic circle etiquette here, correct technique. I'm going 1, 2, 3 exits. So I'm going to stay to the inside. Okay? That's how you do this, right? I'm going to stay to the inside. And then it's 2 lanes, so I can exit. But yeah, look at this traffic over there. That's going to happen again, isn't it? No. Amazingly, it was a Range Rover doing the right thing. You don't see that very often. All right, so we'll slide over here now. And I think, look at this, 24 minutes and we're getting to our yard. Beautiful. It all worked out. Also just realized we made that whole trip with our windows down. I don't do that very often. I normally put them up. All right, so let's swing in here. Yeah, this is, and when I say the older parts of the map, or when I talk about the older parts of the map, I'm not complaining at all, but like this drop off right here, you wouldn't see this in a DLC, you wouldn't see this in newer parts of the map. I don't think, I mean, I said that pretty decisively, but I've got a couple hundred hours in this game. Yeah, this is definitely the way that they used to do it. But you know what? That's a good thing. Progress, growth, improvement, that's always a good thing. I saw on F1, it's getting a good gear here. F1 2020 dropped a patch this morning, and there's a couple bug fixes, but they also added the black Mercedes. And people were saying, 2 patches in 2 weeks, why don't you just release a game that's not broken? And then it turned into a debate, And people were saying, you can, carefully, people were saying in the comments, if you want the game to be bug-free on day one, then it's going to be delayed. Set the brake. Or they can release it on time, and it's going to have some bugs. You pick one. So I'm okay with some bug fixes. All right, 12 grand, 400, and we did have that little accident at the traffic circle, but I'm going to say that was not my fault. I would fight that ticket. All right, that's us done. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. We'll see you next time. Take care now.